All right, welcome to the program. It's a Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully you had a nice long weekend. Weather wasn't all that fabulous, but we're certainly making up for it today. Listen, I want to get right into my guest. I've got a guest on the line for just a couple of minutes, and we've only got a very limited amount of time, so I want to get right into the topic, and we'll do the howdy-doos and all that kind of stuff in just a little bit. But over the weekend, as there often is, there was a birthday party that took place at Buttonwood Park at the zoo. And one of the guests at that birthday party, which was for the daughter of New Bedford City Councillor Ian Abreu, one of the guests at that party left the party, went out to her car in the parking lot, found that her car had been broken into while she was inside, and some very valuable stuff was missing. Lesson number one, don't leave anything in your car. No matter where you park, lock it in the trunk, leave it at home, or bring it with you, right? That said, the car was broken into, and this woman's possessions were taken. This came as a surprise, or what came as a surprise to Councillor Abreu and Ward 5 Councillor Scott Lima, is that there are no video cameras in the zoo parking lot at all up at Buttonwood Park. And that is an issue that will come up before the City Council on June 14th. Councillors Abreu and Lima have filed a motion to have a discussion about finding funding for cameras at the park. So Councillor Abreu joins me for just a couple of moments on the line. Councillor, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Barry. Thank you for having me on. This is a very important issue. So, again, as you mentioned, my time today is limited, but I do appreciate you giving me a few minutes.
All right. So this is this is one of the most significant tourist attractions in Bristol County. I believe next to Horseneck Beach, it is the most visited tourist attraction in the entire county, and we have no security there. This is problematic.
And it's not just for the zoo patrons and the staff, which goes without saying. That's a big part of it. Let's talk about the New Bedford Bears football and youth football. How about the adult or youth baseball and softball leagues that play at the park? What about the tennis courts? What about people who want to walk their dogs? Thousands and thousands of people in vehicles park in that lot every single year. And this is obviously a concern for me and many others, and I know Scott Lima, he's concerned with this as well. When the event happened on Sunday, of course, I went out to see what was going on with my friend to embrace her and see if there was anything I could do. And there was a zoo staffer there who I know very well, and I said to her, well, it's a good thing we have the cameras. Hopefully we can, identify the person, and you can go forward from there. And she said, we don't have cameras. I was floored. Completely floored that we don't have a surveillance system in that parking lot, given the valuable people and the valuable animals we have nearby there, and the individuals and tourists who park there, who visit there, who partake in activities there, not just summer, but in the fall and all throughout the year as well. It's a problem, and we need to look into this right away.
So obviously the parking lot, everybody would be concerned about the parking lot because we do have residents who use that parking lot. As you pointed out, we have a lot of tourists every year that go into that parking lot, but the zoo itself is unprotected. There's no camera trained on that zoo or inside the zoo in that lobby. There's a woman that takes money, folks coming in and all of that. That's an important issue and something that I think a lot of people would just assume was protected by security as well. Is that part of your motion?
Well, we need to look into that, absolutely. So my understanding is, talking with a good counselor from Ward 5, we want to have this referred, I believe, to the Committee on Public Safety and Neighborhoods, although this could be a Finance Committee item as well, because it comes down to finance and funding. And how do we identify the funding mechanism? Does this get put into maybe next year's capital improvement proposal that comes before us through a bond, or is this something that we can pull out from maybe a government unclassified line item? I'm not sure what we do, but we need to talk about the specific way we can fund this. I mean, you look at what it would cost probably for a legitimate surveillance system in that parking lot. What are you looking at? $35,000, maybe $40,000 at the most, maybe a little bit more. That's not even a drop in the bucket. And I think when you talk about people's safety and the safety of our visitors and our children and our animals and those who are coming to the park, you can't put a price on that. So this is a discussion certainly worthy of having, and I look forward to having it.
So somebody listening to you now in the North End and somebody listening down by Hazelwood Park are going to say, that's wonderful, Councilor. What about our parks? Do the other parks have surveillance cameras that you're aware of?
So what we're going to be doing in the motion, we'll be inviting, of course, several guests. Our financial officer will be inviting zoo personnel, but also we will be inviting Mary Raposa of our Parks and Recreation Department. She's the department head. And I know many of my colleagues would like a readout or a printout of where cameras are, where they're not. Now, I know obviously some of that may be confidential, but you know what? Maybe we go through executive session for that, but there's got to be a way we can find out just to make sure people are protected and we know where things are and where they're not. And where they're not, maybe we can work toward helping people.
I know certainly we were talking about this off air here earlier. I know certainly places like, for example, liquor stores are required to have a police officer on busy days. Certain restaurants, banks, they always hire a security guard, a police officer, usually off duty or whatever, on busy times and all of that. And it seems illogical that the city, the government, would not protect its own with either a security officer or some type of cameras or surveillance system. And I don't know, maybe government is the last one to get the message or doesn't want to spend the money. I don't know, but it certainly is something worth looking at.
Well, it is. And some of the subject matter may be sensitive. So if we have to, at certain points, go into executive session, we will. That'll be at the discretion of the chair, and we'll do that and find out where things are, where they're not. But this is a conversation at least worth having, given the amount of visitors who visit that area and who visit our entire city. Maybe this is a great time for a discussion of our security citywide, not just at the zoo. The zoo was where this happened, and that's where kind of the meat of this idea or this motion is coming from. But this is probably a good idea for us to look at our entire system internally, citywide.
All right, Councillor Ian Abreu, appreciate you making a few minutes for us today. I know you're busy, and we do appreciate it. We'll chat with you soon.
Thank you, Barry. Have a great day.
All right, Councillor Ian Abreu, again, if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about here is there was an event at the zoo on Sunday, a birthday party for Councillor Abreu's daughter. Invited guests were there, and one of the guests was leaving the party at the zoo and went out and found that her car had been broken into in the zoo parking lot. And some valuable stuff were taken. I guess a Michael's Core pocketbook and some important belongings inside of that. And they went to comfort the woman by saying, "Hey, we'll review this on the security cameras and we'll see for certain who did it." And then realized there are no security cameras in that parking lot or anywhere at the zoo, which is alarming. I mean, this is the #1 tourist attraction, we are told, in Bristol County, and there's no security there at all. And if you go to the zoo, you go in the front door, and there is a woman who stands there at the counter collecting money with a cash register. Just to the right is a store with 2 more cash registers. You go through another door, take a quick right and then a quick left, and you're into the cafe where there are more cash registers. And there's no security officer. There is no system of surveillance cameras and nothing there to protect the people who work there. Just as important, that parking lot is where folks from all over New England come to visit that zoo. I worked part-time there for a while. That was my Saturday retail gig for a while. Maybe about 5 years. I worked at the gift store and the train, drove the train and the carousel and that kind of thing. And I would speak to people from throughout the region that came here. I'd ask them, where are you from? Oh, we're from southern New Hampshire. We're from southern Maine. We're from Rhode Island. We're from, well, how did you find out about us? Well, we're looking for day trips to take. Couldn't afford a big vacation. So we're looking for various day trips around. And we spotted the zoo, and it looked like a nice place to go. It was easy to drive to and then drive back on the same day. And so people from all over the region are coming here and parking their vehicles in that lot and then going into the zoo, and the whole area is unprotected. And you think about it for a moment, in today's, we talk about, the drug-driven culture that we live in. People need a quick buck. There's an unprotected place to go get some money, right? Or if you're looking for a place to attack, if you're so inclined, there's another place, right? A lot of folks in there. So this is a big money maker for us. It's a big money maker for Bristol County. But if word gets out there that this is an unsafe place to visit, which I don't think it is, at least not at the moment, people are not going to want to come, right? So that's important. 508-996-0500. Let's get to your calls on this, and we'll start right up at the top. And you are first. Thanks for hanging on.